Hello, this is Drew Gerald, and I am the director at the Center for Cinesomatic Development and the proud new author of this book, Why You're Still Stuck: How to Break Through and Awaken to Your True Self. I am going to be doing this Q&A for the Boulder Bookstore, and I'd love to share a little bit about myself and what's in this book and how it can help you get unstuck and break through some of these patterns that keep us from the truth of who we really are. So, the first question is, what inspired you to write this book? What inspired me to write this book has been a 10-year journey of getting unstuck and getting back unstuck, getting stuck and then getting unstuck, getting stuck and getting unstuck, going through all these personal development approaches, these healing modalities, shamanism, energy work, hypnotherapy, NLP, psychotherapy, you name it, and I've done it. And a lot of them were helpful, but for some reason, there was still something missing. And what I wrote in this book are 9 reasons why you're still stuck and 9 ways to get unstuck. So I work privately with clients doing therapy work, focusing on a modality called cinesomatics. And I realized that every session and every new client that I had, there were these patterns of why these people were still stuck. And the word still is in the title for a reason because a lot of clients are very successful people or are people who have done a lot of healing work or have became very successful in the world or in their spiritual practice, whatever it is. So, what do you do when you've already done all the work and you know the stuff and yet things still aren't working? That's what this book is for. This book is for people who have learned the personal development stuff, know the spiritual stuff, and yet something still isn't quite right. So, I wrote this book to help those people. The next question is, what kind of research did you do while writing this book? Well, this has came from 10 years of being a teacher and a therapist in my own practice with clients in a clinical setting. And then my own life, 15 years of being in the personal development and transformational world. And a lot of stuff works, and a lot more of things don't work. And so, through the research we do at my center, the Center for Cinesomatic Development, I've discovered what really keeps people stuck. It goes beyond being political correct. It goes beyond what academia says. It goes beyond all of the things that should work that we're told we got to do, the cliche things. And I researched in a practical therapeutic healing setting what actually worked. So this book is filled with things that actually work in the real world. It's not a book for people that are looking for studies and academic kind of stuff. This is a guidebook to help you apply the spiritual theories, the psychological theories in your real life to actually embody these things. Third question: what is the most unconventional method outlined in your book that can help those feeling stuck? This would by far be embodiment. So, in one of the chapters of the book, I talk about an idea called how you do one thing's how you do anything. And what's really unconventional in this is that we actually apply that to the body. So, in a later chapter, uh, there's an exercise based on the research and results we've gotten in cinesomatics. And this is an embodiment work. We use movement and video to help people see the shadow material, their archetypes and myths and stories that run them. And the really weird thing is, we actually can see those play out through the body. So, understanding that how you do one thing is how you do anything, we apply that to the body, right? How you move physically in the world, how you literally embody your body has a correlation between your mindset, your beliefs, your emotions, your energy, all this sorts of stuff. So it's uh it's very unique to this book. Nobody's talked about this before. So really interesting, but it works. It gets real results. What is shadow material and how is it one of our greatest resources? So shadow material is essentially, and this is a unconventional way to say it, but our shadow material is the best parts of ourselves that the ego throws away. So our shadow material is all this stuff we judge about ourselves. It's these negative emotions, these limiting beliefs, these traumas, these unconscious patterns and behaviors, addictions, meanings, more judgments. So our shadow material is all of this stuff that we decided isn't good enough, or is too uncomfortable, or is too dark, or bad, or evil, or unhelpful. And we say, no thanks. Bye bye. Let's not deal with you. Let's either pretend you don't exist, or run away, or all this sorts of stuff. So our shadow material becomes what runs us. Why? Because what you move away from runs you, because you're moving away from it. You're avoiding it, which means it's directing your life. So, our shadow material is actually some of the best parts of ourselves that our ego has judged and distorted and mislabeled, that we think are terrible, awful, bad parts of ourselves. How is it our greatest resource? Because it's all of these very useful things inside of ourselves that uh, we've thrown away and we are out of relationship with. And now we don't have access to those resources, to the strength, to the courage, to the creativity, whatever's locked up in that shadow, we no longer have resources with. So once we unlock that and get into relationship, we then have access to all this stuff. The next question is, what is cinesomatics? Well, cinesomatics is the pioneering therapy that we're developing at my center, and it uses cinematic video along with movement, feeling, and feedback to help reveal the hidden traumas and blocks and stories and archetypes that are in our unconscious through the body. So, in a gist, what we do is we have participants and clients move physically in our body, in their bodies. We record this with high end cinematography equipment. And then afterwards, we play these movie backs in, we play these videos back in a group setting or a private setting. And we then, through a feeling based awareness, not a heady intellectual checklist that we're looking for, we actually feel into and connect with the movements and what's going on unconsciously. And then the participants can see all of that stuff in themselves on the video. So it's a very cutting edge process that also integrates these ancient truths, these ancient principles of consciousness, spirituality, modern ideas of psychology, and all sorts of fun stuff that can be very confronting, but also at the same time liberating and very healing. Next question is, What books have you been reading during the pandemic to help you stay sane? Well, this book I've actually written during the pandemic, and it was an adventure of surrender. Couldn't do the workshops I was doing over in Switzerland and Tuscany and London. I had to fly back to the States. No more workshops, so I used the time to write a book. Um, but I have recently been reading Ready Player Two as a fiction decompressing sanity sort of book, which has been a fun change of pace. Next question is there anything else you want us to know about your book? Um, you can get it at the Boulder Bookstore. And um, yeah, that's about it. This is the book. It's the definitive guide for getting unstuck and waking up. It's a beautiful book, and it is a very comprehensive guide to spiritual awakening, getting unstuck, and seeing the truth. It is approachable for beginners and seasoned professionals and pros in this world. With that being said, uh, it's not a cheerleading book. It is not an inspirational book. It is a guidebook. This book will force you to look at yourself. It will show you all of the things, the beautiful things and the ugly things that are keeping you stuck, which may not always be fun, but everything in this book is designed to actually improve your life, to move you forward, and to truly get you unstuck. So it's not necessarily a breeze to read, but it is a definitive guide that has everything you could possibly need to transforming and breaking through. Final question. Can you read a so short passage from your book? Why? Why, yes, I can. I never thought you would ask. So, following through with the question of shadow material, let me read the chapter. So, this is the chapter on shadow material. It's called Dragons and Their Treasures. This is, oops, a little later on in the book. In the depths of a forbidden yet faintly familiar cavern, a treasure chest lies locked and rusted over. Surrounded by monsters and dragons, shrouded in foreboding darkness, its guardians keep it safe from those who dare to penetrate the cavern's depths. The stench of rotting flesh of failed attempts gags the air. Nightmarish ghouls claw at the gatekeeper's bound feet, while belligerent swine chomp at the remains of pitiful attempts. A desolate landscape of despair, alienation, terror, and humiliation scares off the trepid traveler. A thousand leagues deep of suffering, sadness, grief, and loss repel those who fear the shadows. A conniving landscape of traps, labyrinths, and funhouse mirrors distract and confuse. A treacherous isle of sirens, narcissists, and nymphs easily seduce those who sail towards the inner sanctum. No, brave hero, this is not a hellish world in a galaxy far, far away. This is all inside of you. A world of your worst nightmares protecting your most secret treasure, locked in the depths of your subconscious. This is your shadow, and it's not what you think. Enlightenment unfolding. If we are to wake up from our struggle, we must wake up from our illusions. The shadow plays a central role in our awakening. As you explore your dualistic nature, you pass through various levels of awareness on how humans relate to lightness and darkness. First, you're told heaven and hell is a place you go when you die, depending on if you're good or bad. You are taught the duality of right and wrong, good and evil, reward and punishment. You are told it's serious. You must obey and not question it. But at some point, you start to question it. Then you realize heaven and hell are happening right here, right now, and your own guilt and judgments place you where you feel you deserve in each moment. Next, You realize it's all a projection, that the beauty and ugliness, the wonder and evils of the world, all come from within. That if you can see the good and beauty in others, you have that within you. If you can see the potential and greatness in another, you have it too. If you can see the evils and treacherousness in others, you have that too within you. Then you realize how much of that you've judged. You realize how you've suppressed and avoided what you don't like about yourself, shoving it down into your shadow, pretending like it doesn't exist. You notice that what you're trying to fix out there is what you don't accept in here. You see how your fears and anxiety manifest from unresolved shadow aspects. Next, you realize everything you want, everything you need to be happy, you have locked safely away you, you've locked safely away in a chest that lies faintly beyond the inner guardians of complete annihilation. Eventually, you realize this treasure is who you've been the entire time. You understand that all the demons, dragons, evils, and horrors are all also you. Often the best parts of yourself misidentified, discarded, and sent to the island of misfit toys. Soon enough, you realize you set the whole thing up. You're the treasure. You're the chest. You're the depths of the inferno. You're the guardians. You're the darkness and the light. You're you, and you're the world. It's all you. You're it. Finally, you realize the human story, the hero's journey, the cosmic joke, and dance. That it's not about winning or finishing, but the process of discovering what has always been, yet is ever expanding. Experiencing yourself as what is always experiencing yourself as what is always changing, but also eternally true. Knowing the story isn't enough, we must partake in it. These words do not take away your suffering, nor do they invalidate where you are. They do not by themselves change you. It's one thing to be enlightened while reading, and it's yet another to become self luminous. One is as the moon, the other as the sun. Your shadow is not what you think it is. So that's 2 pages out of 432 pages of this definitive guide. Once again, my name is Drew Gerald. I am the author of this book right here, Why You're Still Stuck: How to Break Through and Awaken to Your True Self. Thank you, Boulder Bookstore, for this Q&A session. You can find my book stocked at their location and anywhere else you want to get it. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity, and I hope you enjoy the book.